Whaiake nei, I'm sure they're going to be just as exciting. Feel free to bring in all your in-jokes and your kana waves as you go, because they're an amazing group of people. Ngā Kaitiaki o te awa, Waikato and Waipa River, iwi tuna Roopu. Nō reira, te Roopu e Whaiake nei, talking about te karanga o Ngā Tuna, mana whakahaere in action. Please welcome Poto Davis, Wikitōria Tāne, Zane Eramiha and Aiden Riki Te Kanawa. Kia ora koutou.
Anō reira, tēnā tātou katoa, mihi atu ana ki a koe Holden, nau nei tūwhera tō tātou hui I tēnei ata ki haere pai ngā mahi, kia koutou aku rangatira, tēnā koutou, no mātou te honore, kei konei mātou I Whanganui-a-Tara, ki te kōrero e pāna ki tō tātou, tō mātou kaupapa, anō reira, ko wai mātou, who are we? So we are the River Iwi Collective from Waipa, our tupuna awa, Waikato and Waipa, and our collective is made up of Waikato, Ngāti Maniapoto, Raukawa, Koriki Kahukura, and Te Arawa. And so some of these images in front of you, the one on the right is actually us at our first karakia for the beginning of the season for this kaupapa. Now, I won't go into any depth about what the kaupapa is. Very, very briefly, it's the trap and transfer that we, of Tuna Ririki, from the bottom of the Karapiro Dam to the top into the upper reaches of the Waikato and across to Waipa as well. And so this is our collective, and some of us that are here today, we've also got some of our interns somewhere in the audience. Yeah, but that's what these images here are from our first season in 2023, when we were actually able to uplift the permit of the trap and transfer from a commercial entity and for our iwi as a collective to become the Kaitiaki of our tuna ririki, of our tuna, for their longevity. Nō reira, koenei ngā whakaahua. So, who's got the thingy? I've got the thingy, the big green one, eh? There you go. And so, where's our catchment? For those of you that are not familiar with the Waipa, with the Waikato, I say Waipa because I'm Maniapoto. Ka tīmata tō tātou rohe, the catchment at te puaha o Waikato, up at Port Waikato, and it flows down through. At Ngā Ruawa here, you can see where the Waipa River meets the Waikato, and all the way down to Taupo. And so that's the area of our catchment. We're really, really privileged to be able to be doing this work and to be transferring all of our tuna ririki into all of the various spaces in the upper reaches of the Waikato and the Waipa. Well, you can see some of the images here. I think one of the biggest privileges is being able to take it to our people. Being Kaitiaki, take it to our people, take it into the spaces of our korua and ruruhi and our mokopuna, and seeing how happy they are to be a part of such an important kaupapa that is talking about the longevity of our taonga species. Yeah, nō reira, tēnei tāku, and I'll hand it over to Poto. Oh, ko Wikitōria Tāne ahau, tēnā tātou katoa.
Tēnā tātou e te whare, ko Poto Davis ahau. Just picking up from where Wikitōria, so it's the green button, isn't it? So just picking up from where Wikitōria left off. So we're very much aligned with the collective whakaaro that was presented earlier on, and that we responded to the need, and the need to protect our taonga, the tuna. So we came together for, I think I've gone too far. Mai. Yeah. So we came together to collectivise because we were presented with the permit that was up for renewal with Ministry of Primary Industries. So we decided that we would like to have a shot at this, so we got involved. We've been doing it for 3 years, and this is our second year holding the permit. So we worked together, we formed our collective, but first and foremost for us, we made tuna the centre of the kaupapa. E haranga the boundaries, the treaty settlements, we came together as Jarawa Waka and Tainui Waka. And so that's the centre of our collective. So we set all political drivers aside. The other foundational thing too is to recognise that all our taonga, they come to us from our whakapapa. And so they come down from Io, so we're all related, we're all connected to our taonga. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about tuna and where they're going from the Waikato River to the Waipa, or whether we're talking about kiwi that go from the Waikato region to capital Kiwi. They're all the same. They're all our tuakana and we are the taina. Right, there we are, te mana o, oh, wrong one. Sorry. Yeah. So strategy. So we did all the strategy stuff too. We came together, there's our collective. Our drivers, and Erina picked these up yesterday in the late afternoon. So we collectivised and we talked, aroha mai. We heard lots of stories about our taonga from our tūpuna, and the old stories about how they translocated. They carried them in sand and kete to different streams. We talked about the tuna that at the bottom of the dams that were the size of logs that used to frighten the bejesus out of the divers that used to go down. And we also, one of our first interns, she went out on a maramataka night that said that don't go, and her story, she came back and said that tuna actually reared up at her, so she turned around and left her and her dad. So stories like that we take for granted and we don't see, so we're trying to collect all those too. And build that whakaaro about these are our tuakana and never forget it. Here we are, having lots of fun, getting out, getting our hands in amongst the tuna. There's our big, and Miha will pick up on this kōrero later. So there we are, having lots of fun, meeting the whānau. This is our strategy, take responsibility for our elvers. We've done that, we've got the permits back. The migrant eels, Erina will pick up on that, and the habitat restoration as well. And information sharing, like the Whanganui-a-Tara down Whakatane way, and just spreading the message right across, and we need to hold hands in this mahi, whether we're planting trees or translocating anything else, any other taonga. Nō reira, tēnā koutou.
In the old days, we used to supply a lot of tuna to all the pokai, but we can't do that anymore. We're lucky to just put enough tuna on our own pokai tables at the moment.
We're starting to lose that knowledge of how to catch the tuna, how to respect the tuna. We can't even put a kai of tuna on the table for hui. Within 2 generations, we've lost that knowledge, and we want to stop that rot, I suppose, and reconnect our people back to the tuna. That's why we're doing this work.
This is the first year that under the Waikato Tainui cultural harvest, we have been enabled to take control of the trap and transfer process that we've been undertaking this morning. And it's caused a few ruffles, you know, with the commercial fishers, but it's awesome because now we can start to show them how we can do it better for the betterment of the tuna and the people, but more for the tuna.
Our biggest concern has been that it's been controlled mainly from a commercial perspective. So bringing it back to our people, reconnecting our people to their tuna, to their taonga, is probably one of the most important things for us.
So what happens is the alvers actually swim upstream from the estuaries, but then they get stuck here at the dam. So we take these alvers and we put them into tributaries and the lakes of Waikato to ensure that they go, thrive, you know, sustenance for the iwi, not only for the iwi but for the future generations as well. Part of this process here, we have to, you know, we lift the traps over the week, store them until we get that 50, 60 kilo, and then we transfer them in our bins, but we also have to sort of monitor what we're putting in to the lakes and all the tributaries up here. So we do species compositions, identifying what species we're actually transferring. We'll take 100 tuna and split them off into their different species, long fin, short fin, just so we know what we're catching here. We know exactly what we're putting in there. So once they're gone under, they'll stop moving and then they look dead. And then we'll chuck them under the scope and then we'll split them off.
Witnessing what we did this morning, standing there sort of watching, you know, the whānau and everyone, just everyone being around, you know, the whakawhanaungatanga that comes with this kind of mahi, I think is just as important as preserving the taonga.
For this mahi rangatira, you know, for Ngāti Kōriki Kahukura, and our pātere ko arapuni te rohi o te tuna, e. So we try and uphold that, and so we sustain our tunas to the best that we can, moaki tunu, so our kids know, you know, our uri, our mokopuna can continue to eat tuna at the table.
Iri mai te iwi o Ngāpu i Ngari, i nei wā, kei te mahi au, ngā mahi taiao ki Waikato Tāne. So I'm the gumboot fella, but I couldn't bring my gumboots due to the clams and we don't want to spread those everywhere. So I'm just going to wrap us up quickly and just give you a bit of a spiel on our numbers. So when I first come on board back in 2021, we transferred about 2 million alvas up into the upper catchment, but due to barriers last year, that number dramatically declined to just 500,000 tuna. But then this season alone, with our bigger team, because our capacity has grown, we transferred just over 2 million again this year, and what we did see was a increase of our native longfin, which is awesome to see for us. So yeah, I don't have much to say. I do this for our taonga and the next generation because I feel this mahi needs to carry on, and this is why we need to raise awareness, bring our tamariki along, share this kaupapa, because we know that we have, you know, old people, you know, our koroua kuia that have never seen an alva before, and then we see our tamariki who take it for granted, but that's what we want. We want them to understand that this is a normal thing. And this is going to be an opportunity for them moving forward and an opportunity for us to protect our taonga. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa.
Hey, kia ora. Hey, so just quickly, we thought it was really important to bring our community along rather than having researchers talk about the work that our people do, so it was much more important for our people to come, and I'm just going to quickly skip, is it okay? Quickly. Okay, so our strategy identified 5 priority areas that we're working on together, and so pulling back the Alva Trap and Transfer program was the #1 priority, and we did that, and we did it under our own autonomy too. So before that mahi was done under a special permit, the commercial fishers got a special permit from MPI, but we self-authorised that mahi under our Waikato River Treaty Settlement, so we wrote our own permit to do that mahi. The #2 priority was downstream migrants, looking at the migrants as they head out to sea to spawn, so hydro dams, they chop up the tuna on their way out, so that's not ideal. And also in the lower Waikato, there's over 60 flood pumps, so we're looking at, they chop up tuna as well. So this is a bit of a flood pump. There's 60 in the lower Waikato. This is what they do to our tuna. One of our team who's not here, he kind of designed this net to catch the migrants so that they don't go into the flood pumps. He went to the South Island and got that net made up, and we've got 12 nets. He trialled it this season. That's the net on the left with my son in there as well. And on the first night that they trialled it, in this one site, one night, 100 kilos of migrants. So that's the scale of the issue and the damage that those flood pumps are doing. We'll just quickly skip through that. We took those 100 kilos of migrants and we released them down at Te Koaha so that they could go. We do all of this mahi not only to save the tuna, but also to kind of maintain our practices and beliefs. So the longfin is considered at risk and decline, but shortfin are quite plentiful, so we kind of continue our practices around the shortfin tuna. The third priority in our strategy was to share information. So recently, thanks to the Bioheritage, we had a tuna symposium at Karapiro, and we brought together all of the Kaitiaki across the whole river catchment, and it was just for Kaitiaki to talk to Kaitiaki, so it wasn't for the for agencies or anything. And we had a really awesome turnout. We had our interns presenting. We had, so now Kaitiaki from Tahu Whaoa know who the Kaitiaki are from Waipa, etc., etc. So that was an awesome opportunity as well. That's just some of the whānau that were left at the end. We also had some Australian Indigenous come over to that presentation too. And just quickly, some of the learnings from our project so far is that we know that there are other ways of knowing, being and doing in terms of an iwi-led conservation project. We are not going anywhere. We know how to collectivise and, as I said before, get shit done. There's actually some incredible outcomes from Indigenous-led approaches, including social, environmental, cultural and spiritual. Our approach prioritised collective decision-making, autonomy, self-determination and empowering iwi to manage their resources and apply their mātauranga and practices in a culturally appropriate way. And also there's a growing body of examples of Indigenous-led approaches to biodiversity and water management. And lastly, tips for any partners that want to engage with Māori. Our thoughts were that they should connect, listen, collaborate, co-create, resource, empower, and then let go. You don't have to necessarily hold our hand all the way through. Just let us go. Okay, kia ora.
Te rohe o te tuna e tino a tāhua. Kia ora koutou katoa. Yeah, I love that. You wrote a permit for yourself, you wrote a permit for your time on stage. Kei te pai, kei te pai, kei te pai.